Hello, Musketeers, and welcome to Mondays with Mickey. My name is Mike Knigge, I'm your host, and this is the week of January 10th, 2016. Happy New Year's, everybody! Hope everyone had a safe and wonderful New Year. Hopefully, many of you rang it in the same way my wife and I did. We got a chance to catch the live stream, podcast, videocast, however you want to call it, of the New Year's festivities at Magic Kingdom. It's always a fantastic show every year, and it was really nice for my wife and I, since we decided to stay up, to kind of turn off all the lights, cut it up on our computer, and just enjoy, ringing in the new year with everybody at Walt Disney World. It was lots of fun. Hopefully some of you guys got to see that. If not, definitely worth checking out. It's no different than watching the ball drop on TV, but it's very Disney-like. So, without further ado, we're going to get on to this episode of Mondays with Mickey. Now, this week, it's going to be a little different from what we've been doing. I'm going to do a quick movie review of Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, I wanted to wait until after the new year, wait a few weeks into the movie being out, before I did any kind of review, because I really didn't want to give out a ton of spoilers. That was one big thing for me when I was waiting to see the movie, was I didn't want to hear a bunch of details and all the surprises that are in the movie, because I wanted to enjoy it and be, genuinely surprised while watching the movie. But now that it's been out for a while, it's probably safe now to put some spoilers out. So, if for some reason you're not one of the bulk of the United States or the world population, and you haven't seen it yet, and you don't want to see spoilers, now would be a good time to end this video cast, this vlog, because you really don't want to miss any of the amazing moments in the movie because I was blabbering about them. So I'll give you a second to walk away. So if you're continuing to watch, that means you've already seen the movie, or you don't care about hearing spoilers in advance, you just want to know what's happening. So, again, this is mainly a review. This is my feelings on the movie, and my feelings on some of the major moments in the movie, and maybe a little bit of responses to some of the speculation and maybe people whining about the movie. Overall, I love the movie. I've now seen it twice, and I've actually played the Force Awakens play set for Disney Infinity 3.0, and it's very, very loosely goes along with the movie, but it follows enough to hit all the major points. So, one of the reasons why they released it after the movie released, because they didn't want spoilers getting out before the movie. But I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really liked the new characters. Finn, the stormtrooper who decided he couldn't be a mindless killer for the First Order, aka the New Empire. I liked Kylo. And, let me dump into Kylo for a second, because a lot of people have been whining about Kylo. Alright? They're saying, oh, he's not as bad, not as evil as Darth Vader. He's like a whiny Darth Vader with a temper tantrum problem. What people aren't taking into account is when Episode 4 came out, Darth Vader was the ready-made bad guy. Okay? He'd already gone through the prequels, which obviously hadn't been released at that point. So no one saw his journey from light to dark. They just came in when he was dark, after he'd already murdered 30 children and wiped out all the Jedi. So they met dark, evil Vader from the get-go. Kylo, however, is in the middle of his transition from light to dark. He's still very conflicted. He knows what he's doing is wrong, but the power is intoxicating. He looks to Vader as this idol, because Vader made that transition to the dark side and was one of the greatest powers in the galaxy for a very long time. So people forget that, and so they whine about it. Oh, he's such a whiny kid. He got taken down by two untrained people, and let's touch on that too. Okay, so he got taken down, quote unquote, by two untrained people. One, he didn't die. Spoiler alert, he survives. Two, throughout the whole movie, they show Chewbacca's bowcaster, his big blaster rifle. And they show the evil things it's capable of doing. Han keeps taking opportunities to steal it from him, to shoot people with it. And usually when somebody gets hit by that bowcaster, they get flung like 20, 30 feet. And they die immediately. Almost wherever he feels like hitting them. He could hit them in the pinky toe, and they'd probably die. Okay? So let's take this into perspective. After, spoiler alert, after Kylo kills Han Solo, which we'll talk about that in a second, Chewie, in a maddening rage, shoots Kylo and hits Kylo in the stomach, essentially, or right there near his kidney. And Kylo doesn't get flung back 20, 30 feet. He takes a knee, because it hurt really bad. And throughout the rest of the movie, when you see Kylo, he's hitting that wound, trying to numb the pain to keep under control. And he's bleeding out like a stuck pig. Okay? In this condition, a condition which would have killed any other human being, he fights off, first off, against a stormtrooper who has been trained to kill since birth. Yes, he was not trained with a lightsaber, but he was trained with a multitude of weapons. I'm sure he could figure it out. So he faces off against the stormtrooper and beats the stormtrooper while nursing this wound from Chewbacca. Immediately after fighting said stormtrooper, he takes on Rey. Now, Rey may not be military trained, but she grew up in a rough neighborhood. I mean, anybody who watched the movie saw Jakku. Jakku is not a nice place. And honestly, from all accounts that I'm hearing, the main rumor I'm hearing is that Rey's parents that left her at birth or left her as a child, and actually it really only talks about her mom leaving per se. It really doesn't mention much about her dad. From all accounts, it appears that Rey is going to be the daughter of Luke Skywalker and somebody else. That's the rumor. Okay, there's no clarification on that. However, in Infinity 3.0, if you're playing Rey squaring off against Kylo Ren, at one point he says, "Turn and face me, cousin." So it really lends credence to that rumor. So whatever her lineage is, whether it be Luke Skywalker, whether it be Obi-Wan Kenobi, whoever, she's very, very in tune with the Force. She's not trained, but she's very in tune. And when she touched Anakin's lightsaber, another spoiler alert, that pops up in the movie. When she touches it for the first time, tons of Force memories start plowing through her. It shows everything that lightsaber went through, and it shows things that people attached to that lightsaber at some point in their lifetimes, things they've gone through. It shows Kylo wiping out the Jedi students for Luke, and all that craziness. After that moment, she starts realizing that she has touch with the Force, and she's able to trick Daniel Craig, which is one of the cameos in the movie, as a stormtrooper. She was able to use the mind trick on him after practicing a little bit to get it to work. So she's already blooming in the Force, essentially, at this point. She squares off against him, and yeah, she's able to hold her own. She doesn't whomp on him like, some super soldier, but she holds her own against a guy who's injured and exhausted. So we'll be generous. We'll say he was at 75%. Really, he was probably like at 50 or 30%, because he was severely wounded. So imagine if he was at 100%, guys. This is going out to all those who are complaining about Kylo Ren. He's going to be a very powerful enemy now that he's made his journey to the dark side. Back to the Han Solo statement. Yes, that was a big spoiler. That was a big rumor, big question mark. What's going to happen with Han Solo? This was a necessary, in my opinion, necessary plot development. Okay, couple things. One, Harrison Ford's been trying to kill off his character forever, and he finally got his wish. But he didn't want Han to die pointlessly. He also didn't want Han to remain in the storyline pointlessly. He's an old Han Solo smuggler. He really doesn't have a lot to offer, particularly, in the current scheme of the galaxy. All right, his reputation is garbage at this point. He really does no service to the storyline other than to put a big name in the credits. So, how best could he help this new trilogy get on the right feet? And they decided the best way to do that was to give that catalyzing moment to make the main bad guy for the movies truly as evil as Darth Vader. Darth Vader had to kill 30 children to become the evil guy he is. How do you top that? Or how do you at least match up to that? Well, you have him kill his father. Yes, Han Solo is Kylo Ren's father, people. You have him kill his father, cold-bloodedly. And not only his father, but a cherished and loved character in the series. So it catalyzes people's hatred for Kylo Ren, which is the beautiful thing. In that movie, they've made Kylo the ultimate evil bad guy in the galaxy. Knowing that he was facing off against his father, his master, Supreme Leader Snoke, which there's a million theories about who this guy is, whether it just be actually Snoke, or whether it be Darth Plagueis, or whether it be a reincarnation of the Emperor, or a reincarnation of Vader. There's a million theories out there. No one really knows except for Disney. So I'm not even going to touch that one. I'm looking forward to finding out more about him, whether it just be Snoke and how he became what he was, or whether he's actually a reincarnation of a previous baddie. But him realizing that his apprentice was about to face off against his father, kind of like Luke did against Vader. This was a pinnacle moment, and he realized it was time to complete the training and make him the super baddie that we've all been looking forward to seeing. So this movie set him up for that. I'm really excited to see where Kylo goes in the next couple of movies. So, on to the Stormtrooper, Finn. A lot of people complained about him because he wasn't the standardized clone. One of the things they mentioned in the movie is that the new Stormtroopers are children. That they basically take children away from their families at a young age, and they begin brainwashing and training them from birth. Finn's an interesting character because he's really breaking away from that hardcore mental training. And they talk about reconditioning. When they realize that he's faltering, they want to send him to be reconditioned. So this is not an uncommon situation of somebody's morals breaking through and saying that what we're doing is wrong. They have a process in place to recondition these guys. So, yes, is it unique that he broke away and was able to do what he does? Yes. But is it completely out of the realm of possible? Absolutely not. If they have a process in place to try to stop people from turning back to being normal human beings, then obviously this is a regular issue that they deal with. And I'm glad they touched on that. So that, it opens up that prospect and keeps people from going, well, how did he do that? Well, he's not alone. Other people have. He just found a way to escape before they had a chance to re-brainwash him. So, I liked him. He's a little bit of a chicken. He's a brave chicken. I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops over the trilogy. Finn is not Finn, but Rey is kind of in the same boat. Not a chicken by any means, but she's definitely got a past. She's definitely got a unique future. I really hope she becomes the Jedi we all hope she might be. She's a very cool character, and she's a good role model for a lot of kids. So is Captain Phasma. So let me step on Phasma for a second. A lot of people are complaining about Phasma because they really, built her up to be this major character, and then in the movie she kind of goes out like a punk. All right. First off, Abrams has confirmed that she did not die. Yes, she got thrown down a trash compactor like Han, Chewie, Leia, and Luke did. That was more of a funny, nod to Episode 4. She didn't play a major role in this movie, but she is slotted to play a major role in the future movies. Now, if you think back to the first Star Wars, Episode 4, Darth Vader, although he was an imposing character, he didn't play a big role in that movie either. Think about it. He popped up a couple times throughout the movie. He was a bad guy. He's definitely a scary character, but he was never really involved in Episode 4. And at the end of the movie, guess who got knocked out like a punk? Somebody else got scared and bumped his TIE fighter, and he got flung off into the galaxy. Now, luckily for him, that happened because the Death Star got blown up. But he really got treated like a punk in that movie, too. But he turned out to be one of the most beloved bad guys of the entire series. Look at Phasma. Phasma kind of ran into a similar situation. You only saw her a couple times. She's a cool-looking bad guy. She's definitely an authority in the First Order. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with her. And I think she's, although she's a bad guy, strong female leads like her and Rey are great for kids these days. I think it brings in a larger group of people, whereas The originals kind of left the girls off to the side a little bit. So that's my feeling on those characters. So that's the bulk of the characters. BB-8's cute. You don't see R2 very much in the movie, but finally you do at the end. 3PO's got the new red arm, and according to a book out there talking about the different droids, the red arm apparently he's wearing it in honor of another droid. Hopefully we'll learn more about that. But BB-8's kind of cute. I was worried that he might, try to overshadow rather R2-D2. He didn't. He's just as cute as R2. In some ways, he's not, I wouldn't say cuter, but he's unique. And I think the three of them are going to be really cool to see them interact. The other major characters, like Poe Dameron, don't see him very much, but he's very cocky and very smart aleck. He's exactly what you'd expect in a top pilot. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with him. Leia, she's Princess Leia. Now General Leia. She hasn't changed much. She's a little older, but she's still the same kind of personality. Carrie Fisher did a great job reprising that role. Okay, she's a more experienced and seasoned version of Leia, but you can definitely recognize her as Leia. Same thing with Han Solo, Harrison Ford. You can definitely see Han Solo in that character. It's not just I'm reading my lines. This is, I am Han Solo. It wasn't very robotic like a lot of people are whining. He played the character. If you look back at the original movies, he's the same character as he was in the original movies, except older. And then finally, the big reveal, the one that everyone was talking about and wanted to know, and everyone was speculating about, was Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker's character, after failing his students, or feeling like he failed his students, when Kylo turned on him and wiped out all of his students, he went off looking for the first Jedi Temple. And the bulk of this movie is this. Essentially, you could call it the search for Luke Skywalker instead of Force Awakens. In the end of the movie, they figure out where he's at. Okay, R2 had the bulk of the map in his computer banks, but he was shut down, and BB-8 had the last little piece of that map to find Luke Skywalker. And at the very end of the movie, which is the movie essentially ended after the big bad guy base, Starkiller base, was destroyed. This felt kind of like a add-on, almost an afterthought, in my opinion. But it was worth putting in because it set up the next movie. They go off and they find Luke Skywalker. And Rey has Anakin's lightsaber, the lightsaber that Luke lost on Bespin when Vader hacked his hand off. So she goes and she hands it off to goes to hand it to Luke Skywalker. And it ends with a very almost uncomfortable and quiet moment of them on top of this rock formation, this old Jedi temple in the middle of the ocean somewhere. And he just kind of looks at her and sees the lightsaber and sees her, and he looks like he's about to cry. Now, this raises a lot of people are like, why is that? Why are you only seeing him for that brief moment? Well, it was important. They wanted to make sure they solidified these characters before they brought him in. Also, he looked very sad and remorseful. There's a lot of things to that. It could be that he felt planets being destroyed, just like Obi-Wan felt them, and it was hitting him hard. It could be that he recognizes her, and he knows that she's his daughter. It could be a lot of things. There's so much speculation, because it was just them looking at each other, and it was that moment. And that was the point, people. A lot of people complain about it. That was the point. They wanted people questioning, wanting to know what's going on, what's going to happen next. So, I think they succeeded personally. I'm looking forward to Episode 8. That's a couple years away. This year, however, we've got Rogue One, which I'm very much looking forward to. It's the story of how the Death Star plans were stolen, so it should take place right before Episode 4. So they're talking about very little Jedi or Sith interaction in that movie. It's going to be more like a military, like a war movie / big caper type movie. I'm looking to see how that plays out. Because, in Episode 4, Mon Mothma states that many Bothans died to bring the information to them. Or actually, I apologize, I think that was Episode 6 she says that. But the same situation where, there's a big orchestrated mission to steal these plans for the Death Star. So I'm really looking forward to see how they play that out and see these characters they develop. So, final review of the movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was very, very well done. I'm very much looking forward to the next series of movies. Disney has done the right thing. They've done right by Star Wars. They've done with Star Wars what they did with Marvel, and I'm excited to see where this goes. The next two movies are being planned out very carefully, so I think it'll be fantastic. I know George Lucas had some other plans for these movies. A lot of people bash the prequels. I didn't hate the prequels. I liked them. I think they got better as they went along. The first one was kind of... I understand why they did it, to try to introduce characters. However, it didn't work as well as the next two. Revenge of the Sith was darn close to the original trilogy, although it had its problems. And for those who say that the new movie's cheesy, go back and watch the original trilogy and try not to have nostalgia while you watch it. It was cheesy too. The whole series is cheesy, but that's part of its charm. Doctor Who is cheesy, but it's part of its charm. It's why people love it. It's so cheesy, you'll love it. So, final review. I really enjoyed it. I've seen it twice already. I'm hoping to see it again before it goes out of theaters. I sure as heck will be buying it the second it comes out. Obviously, I got the Force Awakens playset the second I possibly could. I have Kylo Ren as an extra character for it. I've got Finn and Rey, which they came with the sets. I do want to get Poe. As you play these play sets in Infinity, other characters get unlocked. So I really want to get like Han Solo and Chewie, so I can play them in it and so forth. I think I've already unlocked Darth Vader. So I liked it. I'm looking forward to more. Now, with all that said, I do have one more thing I want to touch on. So thus far, I've been doing Mondays with Mickey more or less as a show. It's a vlog, but I've kind of set it up as a show. I've done episode numbers and all that jazz, and I've tried to keep it kind of structured. I am considering reformatting Mondays with Mickey. It'll still be Mondays with Mickey, but instead of doing it as a show, where I have it structured out, where we do news and we talk about the subjects and subject matters and talk about what's coming up next week. I'm considering over the next month or so reformatting the show and going to more of a vlog type thing, where it's not really set up formally. I kind of carry the camera around, we talk about stuff, and then we go on to the next vlog, the next week. I want to get your opinion. If you like the way the show is set up, where it's a little more formal, or we talk about what's going on at Walt Disney World or in Disney in general, and then we go into whatever the subject of the week is, and then we talk about what's going to happen next week. If you like that more formal setup, I'll continue with it, and I'll just try to tweak it and make it even better. If you prefer a more of a laid-back vlog type thing, I can do that. I want to get your opinion. See what you guys think, what you like the best, and we're going to go with it. We're going to try to make it work as best as, to make it as easy for you to watch, as possible, and make it more enjoyable for you to watch. Also, if you have suggestions or ideas of things you'd like to see on the vlog, be it more do-it-yourself stuff, more video game stuff, more movie stuff, please feel free to share that as well. Like I said, over the next few weeks, I'm going to be kind of playing with things and reformatting things. I'm going to do a brand new opening for the show. I want to develop it and make it something that you guys will enjoy watching every week. So your feedback is very important to me, and I'd love to hear it. So those are the changes I'm thinking about. So let me know what you think. And next week, I'm going to continue our series on our trip to Walt Disney World in 2015, back in September. It's going to be, we've got Animal Kingdom up next, and then after Animal Kingdom, I've got Epcot. Animal Kingdom will be a quick one, because we were only there a day. So, with that said, I'm going to end it as I always end every one of these vlogs, is that Walt said it best. I hope we never lose, tongue-tied. Let's try this again. Walt said it best. I hope we never lose sight of one thing. This was all started by a mouse. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you all next week.